Don't forget to like and subscribe for more amazing content. Hello, this is Nicholas from Gandora Gaming, and this is my Subterror 2022 deck profile. First things first, we play 3 Lord of the Heavenly Prison. This guy is a really amazing card for this deck. Basically what this card does is you reveal it in hand, and it stays revealed, and it protects your back row until the end of your opponent's turn. So the idea is that you have 4 or 5 back row. You reveal this guy in hand, keep him in hand, and then he protects your back row. He also has the effect of when a trap is activated, your trap or your opponent's, you can special summon this guy onto the field, and then you get to set a spell trap directly from the deck, but banish it during the next turn, which is really good. So not only does he get you into an important spell or trap that you need, but he's a 3,000 attack boss monster, a 3,000 defense boss monster, and that he is a rock, which is important because we play there can only be one, and he's the only rock in the archetype, so he plays around with that as well. Alright, so he's great. He's an honorary Subterror, and yeah, he's awesome. Now we go on to our Subterrors. We play 1 Subterror Behemoth, the Umastrix. This guy is amazing for the deck. Basically, all the Subterrors are a flip-based archetype. And her whole gimmick is that, basically, when they're flip summoned, they activate effects. For example, Umastrix is a quick effect when flipped during your player's turn, banish, which is awesome. He's also the biggest attacking monster with 2,000 attack and 2,700 defense, which is really amazing because we have cards that can boost his attack equal to his defense, so he gets really big really quickly, and he's how he closes out games. Next, the whole reason why Subterror Guru has been rogue / in the meta tier 2 for the longest time is 3 Subterror Guru. Your starter, your control card, the main man himself, Subterror Guru, who's a dragon. Basically, he is what this deck revolves around. It's Subterror control for a reason. What he does is that when he's flip summoned, you get to add a Subterror card to your deck to your hand, which is amazing. You flip them up, you can add any Subterror cards. You can add any of your monsters, and you can also add any of your spells and traps. So you can add the continuous trap, you can also add the continuous spell that we play. Not to mention, he's a quick effect Book of Moon if you control another Subterror monster, which is really important. His stats are not bad either. He has 1,600 attack and 1,800 defense. We can also make him gain his defense, so that's pretty great. And overall, he's just a great card. Great control card, and we definitely play 3 of him. We also play 1 Subterror Nemesis Archer. Subterror Nemesis Archer is a really amazing card. Basically, she is a removal card for this deck, if you weren't besides Umastrix, where when this card battles a defense position face down monster, it shuffles it back into the deck, which is amazing. So the reason why that's so important is Guru can Book of Moon cards. So if you Guru something face down and then you attack with her, you're sending it back into the deck, which is really, really good. The last card we play for the Subterrors, we play 3 Subterror Fiendess. She is our Omni-Negate for the deck. She's our hand trap. Basically what she does is that when you control a Subterror monster, you can flip it face down during your player's turn when a card effect is activated and negate the effect, which is pretty good. It doesn't destroy, sadly, or banish, so it ain't like Mechaba and it ain't like Ghost or anything like that, but if it's a spell and trap you're negating, it just fizzles out. But ultimately, it's just a really strong card. Also has the effect that when it's on field, you can activate the effect, Book of Moon itself, to reborn from grave. So it's another way to get Guru out of your grave if someone cleared that out. And it's just a really great control card. That is it for the monsters. Most control decks do not play that many monsters. So that is it for the monsters. Now let's go on to the spells and traps. We play 3 Hidden City. Hidden City is an amazing card for this archetype. Basically, it's the field spell, it's the Rhoda, it's everything. When you activate this card, you get to add a Subterror monster from your deck to your hand, and then you can basically have 2 effects. If a card's face down, you can flip it up this turn. So let's say you normal set a Subterror. This card will flip him up, allow you to flip up your Guru on your turn, which is amazing. He also has the effect where if your opponent attacks a face down monster during your turn, you can negate the attack by flipping them face up, which is awesome. So Guru is during either player's turn. So the idea is that you just want to keep flipping him up and down to ultimately gain advantage and out-tempo your opponent out of the game. Next we play, for our field spells, one Mista Mina. It's the Spanish version of Mystic Mind. Basically, everyone knows what this card does, is that when this card's activated and your opponent controls more monsters than you do, they cannot activate their effects. Also, they cannot declare an attack. If you have more monsters than your opponent, then you cannot declare an attack, and your effects are also negated. So there is a double-edged sword there, but most likely we're activating that on an established board. Not to mention, if both you and your opponent have the same amount of monsters or no monsters whatsoever, it destroys itself. So there's ways to get through it, and it's just a really good control card. We also play the one Terraforming for the searching ability. We also play, for our continuous spells now, one Subterror Cave Clash. This card is the one Subterror spell we play in the deck besides Subterror Hidden City. And basically what this card does is that it adds 500 attack to all Subterror monsters, and for every set card on the field, including your opponents, which is really good. And also, when your Subterrors do battle damage, you get to add a Subterror card from your grave back to hand, so it's recursion that way. If you use the Fiendus on your opponent's turn, and then you do damage with any of your Subterrors, you get to add back to Fiendus, plus you can Fiendus them again, which is really, really good. Finally, we play 3 Pot of Extravagance. The extra deck in this deck does not matter. Basically, what this card says is during the start of main phase 1, you can banish a card, banish up to 3 to 6 cards in your extra deck. If you banish 3, you get to draw 1. If you banish 6, randomly, you get to draw 2. Since this extra deck does not matter, there is no Subterror extra deck monster that we're playing, you can max out at 3. And you can banish 6 to draw 2, which is really good. You also play 3 Pot of Duality. Duality is a really good card. You're not special summoning in this deck, and basically Duality allows you to go 3 into your card, look at 3 cards top of your deck, add 1, and put the rest back in the deck by shuffling, which is perfectly fine. And that is it for these spells. Now let's go on to why this deck is as good as it is, which is the trap cards. Alright, for the trap cards, we are playing 3 Lost Wind. Again, Lost Wind's my favorite trap card, so I have to include it into most trap decks. Basically, what Lost Wind does is, hey, when your opponent special summons a monster, you can negate its effects and have its attack for as long as it's on field, which is amazing. So it's forever negated and it's forever halved, which helps you get over some beefy monsters, and not to mention, having their monsters and negating their effects permanently can be clutch to win games. Also, when this card is in grave and your opponent special summons again, it can be the same time you activate Lost Wind, it resets itself, so you get to use it twice. Really great card. Next, we play 3 Tormental Tributes. We can recur things from the graveyard, and board wiping your opponent on your opponent's turn is just too good. Tormental Tribute says when an opponent normally special summons a monster, or if a monster is just summoned, because you can proc it as well, just blow up all cards on the field, which is amazing. Next, we play the one Metaverse. It's usually for Mystic Mind, basically, but it's also another way to get into what's it called, your Hidden City. But to be honest, you're probably just flipping this on your opponent after you bait out the negates. That's the Mystic Mind amount of the game. Next, we play 2 of your Subterror Final Battle. Now, this card is also essential to this deck. You may even want to play 3 of this card, but I think 2 is just fine. Subterror Final Battle has 4 effects. You can only use 1 effect during your player's turn. Basically, the 4 effects are, first effect, I might be getting these out of order, so you just have to read the card yourself. But the first effect is, you can make Subterror monsters are unaffected by card effects this turn, which is really amazing. That means your opponent cannot negate Subterror effects, which is very good. You also can book a moon, or you can flip up or flip down a Subterror monster you control. So basically what it's saying is effect 1 would be flipping up a monster, and then effect 2 would be flipping down a monster. And then the third and final effect, which is how you go for game with this card, is that you can target one Subterror monster on you control. I do not know if it's target or just, yeah, I believe it's target. And then it gains attack equal to its defense until the end of this turn, which is amazing. So for Subterror Umastrix, basically it will gain its defense equal to its attack, so it will become 4,700. Now let me just double check with Subterror Final Battle. That's exact wording on there. Yeah, its attack and defense is combined until the end of the turn, so that's amazing. And if you have cards like, let's see, Subterror Cave Clash on field, its defense is higher because this card is also boosting that up, which is really nice. And you can get this guy really, really big and help you swing for games. And let's go on to the more traps we play. We also play, let's see, 3 Crackdown or Manhunt, however the OCG and TCG names are. This card is probably the best in this deck and this deck alone. Basically what Crackdown does is that when you can target one card your opponent controls, one face-up monster they control, and you steal it. Their effects are negated, and you cannot attack with this monster. When this card leaves the field, destroy that monster, or that monster returns to their field, which is pretty good. But the reason why Crackdown is amazing in this deck, and most amazing in this deck compared to all other trap decks, is that because Guru can book a moon cards on your field and your opponent's, you can crack down their monster, book a moon that monster, and then flip it up on your turn, and Crackdown is no longer attached, and that monster will never leave. So you basically just snatch steal their opponent's card, which is amazing. Now we all go on to the other continuous traps we play. There Can Only Be One at 3. There Can Only Be One is an amazing floodgate. Since we're playing dragons, spellcasters, rocks, fiends, we're never running into There Can Only Be One issues. And basically, this is a floodgate against your opponent. If you're going against Sword Soul and you flip a There Can Only Be One, you auto win. As they don't have removal for this card, there's nothing they can do because they can only control one worm. And if they don't have Vishuddha, which is their only out to this card, or like a Cosmic or MST, they're just losing. This card is winning you the game. And it just ultimate floodgate. And then finally 3 Psalm Strike. You can switch these out for Judgments, which you probably should, but I like the gaining monster effects. And yeah, Psalm Strike is just amazing. Plus, paying half in this deck is a quick and easy way of gaining OTK, which for control decks, that's the hardest way you lose. They out-resource you quickly and then one-shot you. So you want to just not pay all your life points all at once. But, hey, Psalm Strike, Psalm Judgment, whatever your fix is. If you want, you can switch out the Lost Winds for Judgments, and that'll be basically the same deck. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoy. The extra deck does not matter. You can literally put 15 Thunder Dragon Fusions if you want. It does not matter. You're not going to any of them. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoy. Have a wonderful day, and don't do anything stupid. Bye.